All right, let's unpack this. There's a statement that dropped recently from Donald Trump on Truth Social, which, also ended up on X. And it's really caught our attention.
Hmm.
It's short, just one sentence. He who saves his country does not violate any law.
Right. And, your first reaction might just be, well, yeah, of course. You could sort of see it as almost an aspirational idea.
Exactly.
Like someone truly acting to protect their nation would be doing so within the bounds of what's right and, well, legal.
Mm.
It suggests this basic harmony between saving the country and the rule of law.
That's it. It almost sounds like a principle you just nod along to on the surface.
Yeah.
But then you start digging a little deeper.
Yeah.
And that's where our main source for this deep dive comes in a transcript from a Ring of Fire video. Their analysis, well, it offers a much different, and I'd say arguably more pointed interpretation.
It's fascinating what the video posits as the intended meaning, isn't it? Instead of suggesting that a country's savior, wouldn't break the law. The video makes a pretty compelling case that Trump is basically saying that because he believes he is saving the country, anything he does is, by its very nature, lawful.
Ah, I see.
It's like a retroactive justification, a self-declared exoneration almost.
Right. The video really emphasizes this kind of it's not about saving the country while sticking to the law, but that the very act of saving somehow magically erases any potential legal problems. It's a perspective that definitely raises some eyebrows, especially when you look at the context of his recent legal issues. Building on that point about the intended meaning, the video then pivots to look at the context of his recent legal challenges. Let's delve into that.
Indeed. The video transcript frames this statement squarely against the backdrop of all those legal battles Trump has faced since leaving office.
Yeah.
And what the analysis in the video really highlights is a rather striking pattern in how those challenges are turning out.
Yeah. The video makes a pretty bold claim here. It states that just within the last month, in every single instance where a judge has reviewed the legality of actions taken during his administration. And interestingly, they even fold in some instances involving Elon Musk where legal questions popped up. The rulings have gone against them. A perfect 100% record, as the video stresses it.
Wow.
That certainly paints a stark picture of the current legal landscape surrounding some of these past actions.
And the point the video really emphasizes is this consistent legal pushback. They even mention examples where judges have ordered people reinstated who were allegedly, improperly fired. This just underscores that these aren't just abstract legal arguments. They're having real-world effects, with courts finding against the legality of certain actions.
So, okay, if you're facing this constant stream of legal defeats, this ongoing questioning of whether what you did was lawful, how do you counter that narrative?
That's the move.
Well, according to the transcript, this statement, "He who saves his country does not violate any law," is precisely that counter-argument in action. It's presented as a way to kind of reframe those losses, to suggest that the legal system's objections are ultimately irrelevant when weighed against his self-proclaimed mission to save the nation.
Well, and this brings up a really important question, doesn't it? About the very foundation of the rule of law in a democracy.
How so?
If individuals, no matter their position, can just unilaterally declare their actions to be above legal scrutiny based purely on their own belief that they are saving the country,
Right.
what does that imply about the importance, the authority of our legal frameworks?
Right.
The video clearly sees this as a potentially dangerous idea, this notion of disregarding legal boundaries based on some self-defined greater good.
And the video doesn't skip over the Supreme Court's role in all this. It brings up the fact that the court has indeed granted broad immunity to the president for official acts.
That's a key piece.
So in some ways, maybe Trump's statement is drawing on this precedent, this idea that certain actions taken within the scope of presidential duties are protected, even if they might technically look like violations of the law to some.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the video suggests that Trump might be operating under the assumption that, a significant chunk of his executive actions fall under this umbrella of presidential immunity.
Okay.
This concept, it's rooted in the need for a functioning executive branch, basically protecting presidents from certain legal actions tied to their official duties. As the video interprets it, the Supreme Court ruling has largely solidified the idea that official presidential acts are immune, even if they might be considered unlawful otherwise.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Even if Trump believes he's legally protected for some of these actions, the video argues that this constant barrage of negative legal rulings still creates a very damaging public perception. It chips away at the sense of legitimacy, of competence.
Right, the optics are bad.
Exactly. So this statement, "He who saves his country does not violate any law," can be read as an attempt to counteract that negative image, to reassure his supporters, maybe even convince himself that he is still in the right, regardless of what the courts are saying.
Precisely. The video highlights the significant concern about the optics of constantly losing in court. It's just detrimental to public perception, probably impacts approval ratings too.
Sure.
Therefore, this statement functions, perhaps, as a form of public relations, an effort to control the narrative and persuade people that his actions are just and necessary, irrespective of the legal outcomes.
Which then leads to the final, almost pointed question raised by the video. What exactly is Trump claiming to be saving the American people from?
What?
The video then offers a couple of examples and mentions his cabinet appointments, characterizing them rather critically, and the issue of rising prices at the grocery store, which it directly links to his policies.
Right, the video uses these specific examples to challenge the very premise of Trump's statement. If his actions are supposedly aimed at saving the country, the video asks, well, from what specific threats? And are his actions genuinely effective in achieving that goal?
Yeah.
It basically presents a counter-argument, suggesting that perhaps the American people might need saving from his actions rather than by them.
So just to recap then, the core of this deep dive, drawing directly from that Ring of Fire video transcript, is this assertion by Donald Trump that his perceived mission, his belief that he's saving the country, inherently places him above the law.
That's the claim.
And this statement, the video argues, it comes out against this backdrop of consistent legal challenges and that 100% record in the last month of judges pausing or ruling against the legality of his administration's actions.
And the video does touch on the Supreme Court's broad grant of immunity for official presidential actions, suggesting this is likely a legal foundation Trump is leaning on.
Right, that immunity piece.
However, despite this potential legal protection for certain executive actions, the constant negative legal rulings create a damaging public image, which this statement seems designed to counteract.
And that brings us to the final thought from the video, the one we really want listeners to chew on. According to Donald Trump's perspective, as presented in this video, what is the specific threat he believes he is saving the American people from? Given the video's own counter-arguments about his administration and its effects, it's a question that definitely warrants some reflection. What is the crisis, and are his actions truly the solution, or, as the video implies, maybe even contributing to the problem? Something to think about.